Okay, so are you trying to achieve a goal at the moment, but obstacles and challenges and setbacks keep slowing down your progress? Well, I want to share something with you today that's going to help you with this, and it's helped me immensely. Go from someone that was broke in 30 grand's worth of debt, that had a drinking problem, that never thought you was ever going to be happy in life, have any success or anything, to getting out of debt, creating an online business and financial time and location freedom, where I'm actually going for a little bit of a chilly walk at the moment with my beautiful wife and daughter in the Mediterranean. We live on the island of Crete. So one thing that's always stuck with me is that obstacles and challenges are not in your way, they're actually on their way. Meaning there's always going to be something. And this thing happens over and over again repeatedly, but you never graduate from these events. And I'm going to talk to you today about how you can do this and how you can have more compassion for yourself and others and actually get less triggered. Because when it comes to achieving your goals, energy is one of the most important things, right? Energy is one of the most important things. And if you watch some of my previous videos, I've shared with you how to cultivate, so how to create energy and how to manage it and how to protect it. And managing and protecting your energy is so important, because if you've got the energy creation thing down, meaning that you're high energy, you have a great morning routine, you've got all your goals set, your diary's there, everything's planned, but something triggers you. What happens when you're triggered? Whether it's a curveball, whether it's a clusterfuck, whether it's something that's come sideways or unexpected, is that you're never going to rise to your highest expectations of yourself. You're in fact going to fall to your lowest level of training, which is how you either respond to challenge or you react to challenge. And we all know what it's like when we react to situations, right? We usually regret it within seconds, if not minutes. So it's all about being responsive. And we do not know what's on its way. I've been working with clients now for over 20 years, whether it's to do with weight loss, mindset, manifestation, improving your business, or getting to your first 10K month. And we have a plan set out, we have goals, we have targets, we have things that we need to do every single day. But what usually stops someone from achieving that goal in the time frame that they've set for themselves is their ability to deal with challenge, their ability to deal with stress, their ability to deal with the obstacles that are on their way, not in your way. And what happens is most people react to it. And one of our biggest challenges in life is other people. What they do, what they say, or what we perceive to do or say. You may be one of these people right now that gets triggered all the time. You get triggered by clients, you get triggered by colleagues, you get triggered by your friends, you get triggered by your family, or you get triggered by that old lady who's apparently standing too close to you in the supermarket, right? Or you're getting triggered by that guy in front of you that's driving a little bit too slow for your likings, right? And it's ruining your day. And if you're trying to manifest a better life, if you're trying to manifest more freedom, more finances, better healthy relationships, or a better health that you see in the mirror, then you're going to find it extremely hard to manifest those positive outcomes. You're going to find it really hard to stay on course and on track if your predominant state, your predominant mindset, the way you predominantly feel is just anger and hate, and everyone's an arsehole and out to get you, and everyone wants to trigger you, and people want to take money from you, and everything's a scam and all that crap, right? Because going back to that little old lady that's apparently standing too close to you in the shops, right? And I know this to be true because I used to be this person myself. I don't think that person woke up that morning and said, do you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to the supermarket and I'm going to stand too close to people so I trigger them and piss them off, right? It doesn't happen. And one thing that I want you to recognize, and one thing I want you to try and remember the next time you get triggered, is that it's not the event, it's not the person, it's not the thing, it's not the words that trigger you. It's your thoughts about all those things that actually trigger you. You give it meaning. And because you give it meaning, you therefore give it permission to make you feel a certain way. And we live in this crazy world right now where people are given permission, unwillingly and sometimes willingly, to others to make them feel crap, to make them feel angry, to make them feel shameful, to make them feel judged. And usually those same types of people, and I know that to be true because I was one of them, they're not even allowing themselves to give permission to others to make them feel loved and worthy and respected and cherished. So if we're not able to give willingly permission to others to make us feel good, it's going to be extremely hard for us to change how we're unwillingly giving permission to others to make us feel bad. Because everyone is doing their best. It may not be your best, but it's their best. And they're doing their best with the tools they have. And because their best isn't perceived as your best, you're expecting them to be you. And by expecting them to be you, to act, think, do and perform as you are, it's leading you to having a pretty pissed off, unhappy and triggered life. And I know this because I used to be it myself. So what we need to do is start to have a level of compassion for others. We need to humble ourselves. We need to stop getting above our station. And we need to stop expecting everyone to be us. Because if we set expectations for other people, it's a surefire route and a quick route to an unhappy life. Because they're not going to live up to your expectations. They're not going to do what you expect them to do. They're not going to fit your mould of what's right or wrong, or what you perceive to be right or wrong. They're just doing their best with the tools that they have. I'll give you a prime example of this, right? So when I first met my wife, I had a good friend at the time who had a wife as well. And he said to me, you know, it'd be good if your girlfriend gets to know my wife. She could do with some more girlfriends, more positive friends and this and that and the other. And when I met my wife at the time, she wasn't really on this mindset journey that I've been on for many years. She was a little bit behind me and she was trying to learn more. So she was potentially, you know, one of these people that gets triggered a little bit more, right? A bit about road rage and people and everything else. And then when it come to her spending time with my old friend's wife, she'd come back from the time they spent together, whether they were going on a walk, whether they were going for lunch or a drink or whatever, and she'd come back feeling pretty shit. She kind of felt a bit judged. She felt a bit like she was being passive aggressive towards her. She felt a bit negative because her negative energy brushed off on her. And she almost was at the point of labeling her as a bad person, right? This was many years ago. And I said to her, to my wife, I said, look, everyone's doing their best with the tools that they have. And she was like, well, what do you mean? Like, that's not good enough. And I was like, but look, her best isn't your best. And the way that you can have more compassion for others, the way that you can get less triggered and drain your energy on other people and free up that energy and transcend that emotion so that energy is freed up for you, is by zooming out and putting yourself in their shoes. By realizing that if someone is acting in a perceived way that you think is negative or passive aggressive or judgmental or opinionated, it's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of lack. It's coming from a place of maybe feeling not as confident around you because you are the complete opposite to them. You are potentially shaking up the demons and shadows inside them. And their default setting is to react to the situation rather than respond. Because I believe that good people do bad things, bad people don't do bad things 99% of the time. Meaning that these people only do what you perceive to be negative or acting out or whatever it may be because you think they're trying to do you harm, but they're really not, they're just trying to protect themselves. And I said, well, let's just zoom out for a second, right? And I said, look, this said person, and I'm not going to name names, she's not really in a happy marriage, okay? She doesn't really get much support from her husband. She spends most of her time waiting until she can have a glass of wine. She doesn't really feel that loved. She doesn't really feel that important. She's not really living what we would call our best life. So where she's in this kind of perpetual state of lack of and anger and fear and ups and downs and everything else, do you really expect her to be all loving, all kind and all supportive as you are, my love? And she said, well, now when you put it that way, I feel quite bad. I said, well, don't feel bad, just do better. And what I meant by that was just that next time that you're around someone that potentially triggers you, just zoom out for a second and realise that they're doing their best with the tools that they have. And it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. Because people are where they are because that's where they're meant to be. And they have all the tools they could possibly need. But yet if you want to change an area of your life, if you want to have more love, you've got to become more loving. If you want to have more compassion, you've got to become more compassionate. If you want to start having the outcomes that you want, you've got to start becoming that version of yourself to get there. And anyway, back to where I was going before I went through the story, is that one of the ways that you can get more stuff done, one of the ways that you can achieve your outcomes is by keeping yourself in the frequency, in the energy of love, of abundance, of compassion. Look at it from this angle. When you're high on life, right, everything's going great, money, relationships, you name it, all of the people that are negative down here, they start to trigger you. And the same way as when you're a bit down and out on life, things aren't going well, you haven't been looking after yourself, you're feeling a lack of stuff, you're in scarcity mode, you're feeling desperate, whatever it may be. All these people you perceive to be really positive, they start to trigger you too. And what you need to do is understand is that when you're being triggered, it's a little message going, just a little message to say, look, you're up here and you're perceiving that person to be down here. And instead of getting triggered, let's just be humble. Let's just show love. And let's just have compassion. Which doesn't mean you've got to come down to where they're at right now, but you can meet them in the middle. Because if you can come to the middle, then guess what? They'll come up there and meet you there too. The same way if you're feeling negative and all the positive people are triggering you and pissing you off, it's just a little message to say, hang on a minute, mate. Just come to the middle. Just realise everyone's doing their best with what they have. And your best today might be here, tomorrow it might be there, you might be down here or all the way up there. But you can only do your best with the tools that you have. So I want you to start thinking about what's triggering you at the moment. What challenges and obstacles that are on their way keep messing up your progress, keep sidetracking you, keep getting you to lean on old habits and react in the way that you've always done. And I want you to zoom out and use this AAA method to help you through it. So the first A is acceptance. So you're going to accept that you're triggered. This is triggering you, right? Because every day is a school day. And when you get triggered by something, it's your biggest teacher. So why is this triggering me? Then the next one, the first one is awareness, not acceptance. The second one is acceptance. So then the acceptance is where we start to then work out what's true and what's not true. So if you're thinking Sally in the office is, sending you bad emails and constructive criticism because they hate you, ask yourself the question, do I know this to be true? You may feel like it's true, but what evidence do you have to back your claim? And 99.99% of the time, you have zero evidence to back that claim. So now you can ask yourself, well, why am I feeling this way? And maybe it's just triggering you that you're getting feedback. Maybe you're a perfectionist, and perfectionism comes from an insecurity, right? And then maybe you then need to be like, right, okay, what's the next A? It's taking the aligned action. And the aligned action is the action that you take to improve the situation and improve your situation, therefore moving you one step closer to your inspiring and compelling future. Or you can get angry and peed off and delete the email and go and have a drink in the evening and self-sabotage yourself, which is just going to bring the past back into the present. So using that AAA method, you can work through this. So the moral of the story is that yes, you need to set goals, yes, you need to set intentions, yes, you need to set targets. But the biggest thing that you need to work on in order to achieve them is your ability to deal with challenge, your ability to deal with your triggers, and your ability to deal with stressful situations. Because you are not going to rise to your highest expectations of yourself, you're going to fall to your lowest level of training.